just speaking of your career, Trum, you put the work in. You can talk about guys that come quickly. You talk about Frankie Rodriguez or some guys that kind of really move forward. You worked hard in the minor leagues. Seems like you spent about 15 years in the minor leagues. I mean, it seemed like it was a while, but you figured it out. You moved forward and became a force in the major leagues. And for every guy that maybe moves a little quicker, I think there's a guy in your shoes that maybe is that little late bloomer, gets together a little bit later, but doesn't give up on themselves and moves forward. I think that's the beauty of this game is just to see the different paths that the young men take to get into pro ball first of all, but make it to the major leagues. And I certainly we all tipped our cap to what you did because we know what a grind it was. And once you figured it out, though, you had it. There was no doubt about that.
Yeah, repeating levels is it's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
what you want to
like
do.
being
But you
held
know
back
what?
in school. It's like being held back in school, and you know every answer for the next year. But it was still, you had challenges for sure, and you came out on the other side of it in the sunshine, and it was great to watch.
Well, when I needed the work. I think part of being as I matured, a better self-evaluator, and probably as a younger, especially as a minor leaguer, I didn't do a very good job. I probably thought my defense was just fine, and everyone else knew it was not. And Rob Piccolo, I credit with
Yeah,
a ton. I don't know how many countless hours behind the scenes and unique drills that I would be doing alone. I'd notice it was just me, and that started to clue me in pretty quickly. That was instructional league, but I had a long way to go in the eyes of many. And but I did one thing. I never got sent down, and that may not matter to a lot of people, but it was. I'm pretty proud of that. And that's everyone's got things they look back on, but I do, not going in the Hall of Fame, nothing like that, but I can say that. So that was kind of special. I wanted to ask about a center fielder you managed. Fairly certain you're going to say he was the most talented player that you had the privilege of managing. I think he's a Northeast guy too. Maybe you joked at times about playing them in football and
oh yeah.
taking it to him and taking something else. But maybe your first impressions of a young Mike Trout and his progression as you saw him.
Well, you're right about Trouty. I mean, Trouty's East Coast. He's very family oriented, and from the first day he stepped on the field, everyone was raving about not only his physical ability but his toughness and everything he could bring to a baseball team. And Mike worked very hard. I mean, his talent level is unbelievable, but he worked very hard on the defensive end. Not because he wasn't good; he wanted to be the best he could be. Obviously, at the plate, running the bases, everything was just. It looked so easy to Mike to go play baseball at this level, but he worked very hard at it. And he grew up just east of Philadelphia in South Jersey. Big Philadelphia sports fan, so I know we kind of bonded with that. And he comes from a great family, tremendous family man. And I really think that Mike still has the ability to do some of the things that have kind of, have kind of slipped a little bit. Is contingent on some of his health. But if you saw him swing the bat the last 2 weeks of the season last season, it's still in there. And I'm excited to see what it might turn out to be this year.
I
Hey,
agree with you.
Trump, you asked me about tough conversations. Though one of them was you forced it. You remember when you came up and Vernon Wells had gotten banged up? You might not realize this, but Vernon Wells was supposed to go out there and play, and you played so well. You played so well out there that we all 100%. I had to have a conversation with Vernon, and him being a veteran, he took it very hard. But I said, Vern, I said there is no way that we can take Mark Trumbo out of the lineup. that you're going to have to try to get some at bats and we can get him for you. But he's got to play. So you forced the hand to that tough conversation. I don't know if you realized it at the time, but you certainly are in that position, and we were a better team with you playing out there every day.
Well, I didn't know about that conversation. I do remember when they switched the banners in the front of the stadium, and mine went up and his went down. And
Yeah,
the hard thing was Vernon
Cold
was
man.
such a nice guy to me.
I had
Such
nothing to
a
do with that. That wasn't my department.
no. I know that. I know that. But Vernon was a tremendous teammate. He really, I think people, Angel fans might not, the production wasn't quite what it was in Toronto, but I have to give him credit. He was a great mentor to me. He held some team events behind the scenes and did a lot of things that went a long way that, maybe haven't been talked about, but I just wanted to make it known that, he was a first class teammate and he never held anything against me, because we did, I took some of his playing time and I know
Yeah.
some guys wouldn't react very well to that.
No, he took it like a pro after the initial meeting and he worked hard. I mean, he worked hard to get back his game back, and no, even though it was tough. It's tough when everybody hears that. We've all been there, but he eventually took it the way I knew he would take it, and I know he helped you and mentored you. And talk about one of the things that we get lost sometimes in what we're about in this game, and you did something that really I think shows your depth of character, and it was off the field. You were scheduled to go to the children's Christmas party that the Angels would have every year. A lot of these kids were underprivileged and would come and have a great day at the stadium and get gifts. And you're scheduled to do it, and a couple of weeks before that, you find out that you're traded to the Diamondbacks, and lo and behold, they had talked about, from the word I get, scheduling someone else to take your place. And when they called you, you said, no, 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 no. Unless you don't want me there, because I'm a Diamondback, I'm going to be there. And you showed up and you gave those kids a smile for one day. And Trumpet's one of the best things that I've heard in a long from my life. And I want to, let you know what it meant to all of us that you did that. It shows the character you have and what you're about. So that was a beautiful thing.
Well, thanks. Yeah, at the time, I did it for what I felt were the right reasons. I didn't expect any, kind of publicity or, it was nice that people did acknowledge it, but I just said, it's the right thing to do. It's nothing, it's about these kids. It's not about me. And I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. And there's a lot of ways as a player you can give back, and especially with kids. I tried to sign as many autographs for everyone as I could, but especially for the kids because it can really go a long way. And the Christmas party and things like that, they don't happen all the time, but when they do, you want to do what you can. I think it's very important. So I appreciate that. There's a couple things I wanted to ask you about in the current game that I think you would be a perfect one to ask. The catching on one knee. I don't personally like it. I've picked guys' brains about it that are in the game that are, sorry, Hank, but and they've explained it to me. And Hank's explained it in a good way. But I can't stomach watching a run score because a guy's trying to steal a strike, below the knee or something. I don't understand that. Maybe you could help me with that.
Trump, there's a couple things. I caught an eon ago, but I remember being in instructional league in 1977, and Del Crandall, who was one of the big influences on my life as far as becoming, improving as a catcher. He would talk about the low pitch, and he would tell us, "Look, we need to get that glove up under the hitter's knee, and we certainly want to catch that low pitch coming up." And he would let us drop our glove about 6 inches so we could maintain a target, and we would catch that low pitch coming up, and we would frame it, and we would get the strike calls that that they're getting today. I think you can accomplish this from a conventional stance, as as easy as you do from one knee. Now, here's the rub: there's so much responsibility a catcher has. If there's nobody on, first pitch to a hitter, all you really have to worry about is giving a target and catching the ball. Well, right now is they put so much focus on getting up under the ball that the target evaporates, and most pitchers are throwing into a black hole now because they don't have that perspective of where the glove would be. So, so when when you get two strikes on a hitter, that responsibility grows from let's just catch the ball to I always need to receive the ball, but you know what? I need to have some mobility to block that slider if it's going to be a little bit off the corner in the dirt to get my body in front of it. If it's right in front of me, it's easy. But if you tried to catch on one knee and block Frankie Rodriguez's breaking ball that landed 18 inches to your right, you'd have to wave at it. You couldn't do it. So my question to like Hank or anybody that says you have to be on one knee and not give a target is why is it a question of either one? Why can't we do both? Why can't we get a conventional stance, give a target that a pitcher needs, drop the glove a little bit, come up underneath that low pitch and have the same result? And just from even now throwing the ball, how much you have to cheat to throw the ball. And you'll do well if the ball's in your zone, a high fastball, well, you'll do anytime. But if that ball's a little bit off, your throw is going to go from a 195 to a 205. So these things are things that uh, are kind of you know kind of damage that happens because we're so focused on getting that low pitch. My perspective is we can do it all, and we need to do it all. So I'd love to see catchers get more conventional, still get that low pitch call to strike, but have that mobility to block, to throw, to field a bunt in front of the plate as you need to.
Well, I think that's perfect. I do wonder, as the game progresses, they'll have the ABS challenge and whatnot. Maybe we'll see if, that trend shifts or you have limited challenges. So I assume it'll still remain to some degree, but we'll have to monitor that as it goes.
Maybe I got to talk to Hank, huh? Should tell Hank to call me.
His number still works. I
Still the same.
messaged him this morning. Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
gonna tighten him up a little bit.
He needs it. He needs it. One other last thing, from me. A couple of years ago, I got to accompany a fellow player with a lesson with Craig Wallenbrock, who's gotten a lot of publicity and notoriety, but he's a big proponent, maybe the first, at least that for a guy my age, uh, on hitting the ball in the air more. He felt like that was the right approach, and he alluded he's a great storyteller. I'm not going to do this justice, but he did a good job. But I guess you guys used to hold a summit or a conference or something, and he
Yes.
said that you and him maybe didn't always agree on hitting philosophies. I know you used to advocate for us that now you didn't want guys to hit ground balls, but I think maybe more of a Mike Schmidt philosophy of line drives that will turn into more, as opposed to being all right with an infield pop up, which is not a very competitive at bat sometimes.
Yeah, I love Craig, and he's very, very knowledgeable hitting. And that's the one thing I think we had a little discourse with was the fact that um, I'm great for hitting the ball in the air. I'm great for Mark Trumbo hitting the ball in the air. I'm great for Vlad Guerrero, Torrey Hunter, Albert Pujols hitting the ball in the air. Not real fan of David Eckstein hitting the ball in the air. Not real fan of some other players that are around of hitting the ball in the air that aren't going to have the same results as those guys. And I don't like the mechanical change to try to hit the ball in the air of starting to dip early to get that little uppercut going. And as I've listened to some of the best hitters ever in the batter's box, I've already talked about Vlad Guerrero and Albert Pujols, Torrey Hunter. They were very flat through the zone And as they got that ball out in front, that little lift would happen naturally. And I look at your swing, Trum. I look if they throw you a little high fastball, you were level through it, and if you got out in front, that ball took off. And I think that's the issue I had and have with getting the ball in the air is not every player is built to do what a lot of guys are trying to do, and I think there's a way to do it outside of trying to get this huge uppercut, which has created big swing and miss zones in the upper part of the zone that shouldn't be there. So that's how I feel about that. But as far as what Craig talks about, the balance and his drills, he's as good as I've been around. The one thing was just trying to mechanically alter your swing to get the ball in the air is something I'm not a fan of.
All right, Mike, we're going to end the show with a little lightning round. We'd like you to give preferably brief answers to a couple of quick questions. Toughest pitcher to take out of a game?
John Lackey.
Shocker. And why was that?
Eric
Briefly.
Weaver, close second.
Were they cut from the same cloth in that way?
Oh yeah, they were competitors. I loved it. Those guys never wanted to come out, and that's just made them so good too.
Most violent home plate collision you've ever had?
Chili Davis.
Tell us about that one.
Uh, Chili Davis, when he was young, was 6'2", 235, and could fly. And base hit to center field, and I got the ball just as he got his lean, and man, he knocked me back. Somehow the ball stayed in my glove, and uh, Chili hurt his shoulder, and I saw stars. But there was no concussion protocol then, so you just walk back to the dugout, and you got ready for the next inning.
Here's a little bit of a trick question. Favorite ice cream shop in the Bay Area?
Oh my God, that's a story that we drove the whole team through for ice cream. I told these guys, I said, look, if you guys win, we win the series here up in Oakland. I said, we're going to take this team bus on the way back to the airport. We're going to take you all for ice cream like it was Little League. And I don't even remember the name of it, Trump. Do you remember? I don't remember the name.
I didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
I looked up and I said, "What is this?" And we're in the hills of Oakland
Yeah.
and getting ice cream.
Yeah. And so we had an order for you. They came home with all these milkshakes and sundaes. And I just thought it was like, these guys have played hard. Some of them wanted to get back because they had their fantasy draft that night. But it was great. I mean, the guys got ice cream. They won a game, and we just went we went little league on them, and they enjoyed it.
That was fun.
Toughest
It was great memory.
Yeah,
toughest player you ever managed and why?
toughest player I ever managed. I think there's on both ends. There's players that are tough, that are disruptive, and you got to stay on them, and you've got to do anything. And one of the guys who actually I've gotten along with well, and he apologized, was Jose Guillen.
Oh,
He
yeah.
apologized for some of the things he did as he moved on with teams, and we had we had a number of long conversations on it. And then you get the other end of it, a guy like Darren Erstad, who never wanted to take a day off, never wanted to play at any level outside of 100%. And so they're tougher in a different way. Obviously that's a better situation to handle. But it's not always the guy that you would think that would be the guy that would be difficult to manage.
Favorite post game meal?
All of them. I got to figure. After that game, and even though I wasn't physically, there was a little bit of wood burning here, so you get hungry. But I mean, it depends on where you were. One of them is in when they bring the Mexican food in the last day in Oakland,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
had these burritos and these. I mean, it was like they were like silk going down. So, but the food's good.
Best
Why was Howie always
financial. Oh,
peppering? Sorry, Howie was always peppering you with questions. I don't know what that was about. Howie Kendrick.
Oh, Howie, I know. Oh,
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
time. Howie, all the time was. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
best financial advice you could give to young players.
Um, Pay yourself first, meaning
Hmm.
it's easy to go out and pay the car dealership for that car, or buy that piece of jewelry or buy this or that. I think if you pay yourself first, it's a lesson I learned a long time ago. You're going to be set for. You should be set for your life. And so, as young players, you never know when that great flow of money might be halted or diminished. So when you get it, just make sure you're paying yourself first, putting it away, investing it to get that mother load of money that will get you through if your career goes a different way.
Might be hard to only pick one, but favorite spring training clubhouse meeting or prank?
Oh man, I think Trump was on a couple of those, right? Um,
He bows
the
his head in
best
shame.
the best prank. Well, we had some great meetings. I mean, when Shohei Ohtani came in, we had a game where we had some Japanese yen dollars. We had money from Mexico. We had all this money up, and in fact, Taylor Ward was just barely coming up, and he had to pick just cold turkey without which pile he wanted. And I think he picked the yen, and it ended up to be about $6. It was like a piece, and the other ones were like about a couple $100. So things like that are funny. But the best one was when we sent the guys out to the fair out in the medieval fair that was out
Yeah.
in I want to say Chandler.
Yeah.
Adam
Renaissance
Riggs was
fair it
there.
was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Were you on that one with Riggs? No, you weren't there, Trump.
Of course, I was.
Yeah, these guys
Butterfly
brought back a
Festival.
video. They brought back a video that was hilarious. I mean, we were laughing for days. I still laugh thinking about it. And it was. I didn't know you were on
No,
that
there. I think
trip, Trump.
you sent multiple groups out. We had
Oh
one
yeah.
that we covered a little differently. I think we brought the entertainment in house, but
Yes,
I
you
think the
did.
other one,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had
All right.
we had well real quick when we had the ostrich come in from Jared Washburn brought the ostrich into our clubhouse, and I'm not kidding you, Ramon Ortiz. He jumped. I don't know how he got there. Jumped on top of the locker. He climbed it like he was climbing a tree and got up on the locker. And he's saying in Spanish, "Get that big chicken out of here!" And that
Polo
was
Grande,
impressive.
right? Polo
Pollo Grande,
Grande, right?
Pollo Grande. Oh my God, it was, and he was actually sweating and shaking. That was some of our best.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Halo Territory. Mike Scioscia, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Halo Territory.